When do I look at the camera? When do I look? Hi, what a surprise that you're here. Look at my face. I can't wait to show you more of my face. There's my face, there's my face. That's not my body, but this is my face. Face, face, face. I hope I never get arrested for not leaving a premises which is no longer mine.
Drag, D-R-A-G, is from dress as a girl. Man dressing up as a woman was the first idea of drag, but then has developed its meaning. The way I am dressed now, this is man or a woman. Drag is not about their sexuality or gender, but as a form of expression.
Drag started as a way to express a gender that is not necessarily your own, or for trans people to express their gender in a kind of a safe space. Now, putting on a costume or clothes that you think are interesting usually involves performing, generally in a bar setting. There are drag queens who do television, and there's drag queens who do theater, and there's lots of types of drag.
I wanted to have some fun in a creative way. Yeah, I started painting my face and drew myself in this tiny world of drag.
It changed the way that I saw how people could live their life just free of gender restrictions and able to present themselves in a way that other people would see them as they really are.
Starting drag was almost a necessity. I was battling with my sexuality. I was battling with acceptance from my family, but drag was the only thing that made me feel certain about myself. I knew that I can always perform, get done, have people that will accept me. So it was such an important thing to survive.
Two big misconceptions that people who don't know anything about drag have. One is that drag performers and trans people are the same, and they're actually two separate but often overlapping groups. So a lot of trans people do drag, and a lot of drag queens or drag kings are trans, but they serve two different purposes. Drag is a performance art, and trans is the way that people live their life. I think that connects to the other misconception is that drag queens live their days as drag queens. We only dress up in drag to perform as drag queens. We're not going to the supermarket.
We have Koreans, local Koreans, who have heard of drag and would come to see our shows and be amazed and blown away by the existence of drag in Seoul. I don't think people here realize that drag is growing and it is a large presence in the queer community. So we have people from all over the world and come here to see our shows.
And there's always, of course, allies that come to the show, and that it's really cool, it's really special.
It used to be gays for anyone who has gay friends, so they brought their friends and they just have great time with cross-dressers. But then, been more than a decade, Drag Race has been preaching so many people to club.
Drag Race is the mainstream drag queen competition. When I started watching it, it was the only thing I knew about drag, and I thought it was the best thing ever. Drag isn't for people to feel comfortable. Drag is for people to feel things beyond what they're normally capable of witnessing. Drag is to educate people, to get people to act. Drag started out as a revolution for the queer community.
1995, there was a club opened as a gay club, but then the owners and some of her friends were like, shall we just dress up and have more fun? And they started just doing makeup and put wigs on and started wearing women's clothing. That club is trans. So they started from 1995 before anything else in Korea, there even were not much of understanding of gay community. But even before it exists, you can see the movie 왕의 남자. You can see a man playing women's role, and it's been introduced a lot in other cultures as well. In that sense, you watch the film Farewell to My Concubine. It's about Chinese theater. You like kabuki from Japan. They're all men taking women's role. It's funny that women were not really allowed to be on the stage, so men had to play that role. But nowadays, it's popular. People actually see it as a entertaining, performative art.
The drag scene has grown a lot, especially the popularity of drag queens in Korea. I think like Nana and Neon Milk being in music videos really kind of like helped push the drag scene towards a more mainstream audience. You know, Kimchi being in RuPaul's Drag Race got a lot of queer Korean people to notice, so they know what drag is. So the drag fandom in Korea has just like grown quite a lot.
Back then, there was only like a couple. Now there are so many.
So it's just a much bigger and like more vibrant scene than it was back then.
The reaction of the audience was just like, I was just very grateful for them, because in the beginning, I didn't really know what I was doing, and everyone was just magically so supportive. I think it was really beautiful.
That warmth that existed in the Seoul community at the time really helped me grow as a performer and really like let myself be inhibited. And I think because people were so sweet and nice, I had a blast performing here.
I don't think Korean society does think of drag. A lot of Koreans don't even know that drag queens are like gay. Which is kind of like the basic knowledge of what drag is.
They really care unless it becomes a popular culture and start making money out of it.
It's such a brand new concept for people still. I do know that drag queens and drag is getting a lot more recognition in the entertainment world these days. I know that a lot of K-pop artists are collaborating with Korean drag queens in music videos and stuff.
I think one thing that's great about Korea though is nobody's gonna like come up and hurt you. You're not gonna get assaulted by a Korean person.
When you do drag, you have some sort of like weapons. So you've got something in your hands, use it right in order to get what you want. So I don't see it as a challenge that you have to achieve, but then now you have something to fight with.
Korea was doing really well with COVID situation. We went out to the bars, to the gay clubs, and people were partying to celebrate the restrictions being lifted. A gay person spread coronavirus to a bunch of the people at the queer bars, and then there was an outbreak. The reaction to it was really disappointing. It showed a lot of the homophobia in Korea.
I never knew that I would be in a historic moment. From that moment, it was really, really, really tough because I didn't have any other jobs but drag.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, the gays, and you know, they were going out there and taking photos of the different clubs on Homo Hill, and it was just awful because the people that were infected had to be outed, probably fired from their jobs because they don't have protections. Especially the first person who caused the outbreak. I feel really bad for him because his sexuality was just thrown out there for everyone to find out about. They did anonymous coronavirus testing, which was great for those that didn't want to be outed. But before that happened, there was a bunch of people who didn't want to get tested. And this is not that they didn't want to, they just didn't want to be outed. They just are afraid to be like losing their lives. And in Korea, there's no laws to protect you against that.
A lot of the drag queens especially were really hurt by the loss of income from gigs that we weren't able to do anymore. Yeah, we had to shift a lot of our stuff to online content, which doesn't make this even close to the same amount of money as live performances do.
You know, we might be living in an area with not so many infected people or whatever, but like, opening shows isn't a wise idea. There aren't many shows that are opening up. There aren't many opportunities as there were before. Like, this is summer, and this is like when we have Pride and all these events. It's so sad that we can't be performing for massive crowds anymore.
It's definitely different than watching online show and going to a club and feel the people's energy and how actually they sweat in front of you and does choreography or like singing, acting. It's different.
Depending on what look I'm doing, it can take me anywhere from 2 to 4 hours to do my face makeup, and then you have to account for gluing a wig down and costume. There's also time before the performance that you have to account for. Like, you practice, you rehearse, you make your own music.
It's pain in the ass to look at my face for like straight 2 hours. In order to have these nails, I have to shape them, color them, dry them, and it's like more than one layer of color. So it takes time and you have to do it before. So preparation, I have to say a lot of time.
It takes me a really short time to do my makeup, so I end up spending more time padding and getting the body right. The number one rule we have at any of our shows is consent. Not to touch anyone, make anyone feel uncomfortable, always ask permission, and really just respect everyone's boundaries and identities. I think that's really etiquette 101. I know we're at a bar, we're all drinking, but I think it's still really important to not cross the line and to always ask when taking pictures. This is my good side. And it's really important to respect that.
You know, we're not just objects, we're people too.
We're people too, and we have feelings. No, we don't. We're robots, and we'll eat your soul.
We love attention, so give us a cheer, give us a yes! We love that shit. Like, oh, it worked, bitch! That's music to our ears. Nobody wants a silent audience. The other thing, drag is really expensive, so the audience will usually give us like single dollars or 5s or 10s or 50s. 50s are really nice. And then also, please take lots and lots of pictures and tag us on Instagram. We love going home after the gig and like scrolling through our phone and just seeing all the videos and stuff like that. No drag queen hates that. We all love it.
When I'm in drag, I feel awesome. I feel so empowered. I get so much out of being a drag performer. It just, like, it's like my life passion is validated.
Depends on what I wear. It may give me different attitude. When I'm on high heel, even if it's painful, then I walk really sassy. It doesn't make me sassy, but it gives me some sort of physical attitude.
Motivation and like point of view, and I get to learn so much. And it gives me like a purpose and self-confidence. Like, drag is the best.
It gives me an opportunity to talk about what I believe, so it gives me a voice. So that's another thing I love about drag.
For me, I'm just like, you only live once, you have one life, just live how you want to live. That's not really the case for everyone. Regardless of the difficulties and the obstacles people are going through, loving yourself is really like the most powerful thing you can do.
You'll find people who do understand you. Those people will build your spirit a lot more. I don't think you should be afraid of being authentic to yourself. I think the worst thing you can do is like live in regret and live in fear of what you didn't do.
Don't let anyone else stop you.
Be who you are. Don't care too much about what people think, because they will think the way they want to think anyways. Don't try to make them happy, because you cannot make everyone happy. You can only make yourself happy.
Just have fun. Don't take everything so seriously. Life's a drag. We're all born naked, and the rest is drag.
We're all born naked and the rest is drag.